Hey everyone, Susan here, and I just thought I would check in and see how everybody's doing. I just actually did one of my first Instagram lives, and now I'm here just feeling all of you and really wanting to somehow through the airwaves let you know that you're not alone as you deal with the overwhelm of kids underfoot, and should you be schooling them, and how, and what's your day supposed to look like, and what kind of schedule should you be keeping, and what about the money and the jobs and the groceries and the toilet paper. I just, gosh, we just need to take a breath throughout the day and notice that we're alive. I know that it's so easy to throw ourselves into the future and project into the future our present day chaos, if that's what we're experiencing. Now, some of you might be really enjoying this pause and having things be quieter and having that time to be with your children in a way that you have said you wanted and have wanted for a long, long time. I know that there are many silver linings, if you're not seeing them right now, that many families are going to see just by everybody kind of slowing down and being together more. It's also, however, challenging, especially when you weren't prepared, when one day life looks this way and then the next day it doesn't look anything like that. It doesn't look like anything it ever looked like before, in fact. From how you do your grocery shopping to how you organize your kids' after school activities to how you feed your family, everything has changed within a day or two or three. And so as a family therapist, my big concern is the mental and emotional well-being of all of you. And I want to offer whatever kind of support I can. And I think one of the ways I can do that for the moment is to do our Monday get-togethers. This coming Monday, I'll be joined by my dear friend and colleague, Janet Lansbury from Elevating Childcare, and I hope you'll join us. We're just going to be able to talk with a few of you and listen and answer some questions and concerns. But I'm also going to check in here on Facebook and Instagram to whatever degree possible. And I want to know what you need, what would be most helpful to you. So for today, I thought I would just see how you're doing. And so put something in the comment box if you'd like. Hi, Melissa. Who else do we have on here? I'm not very good at this still. Susie and Maureen, sending you my best. If you have a comment or something's going on for you, I don't really know how to do that very well on Instagram, but I'm a little bit better at doing it here. So I think you can put a comment in the comment box maybe. Can somebody test that? And if you want me to address something in particular, I'm happy to do that. In the absence of that, let me just say a couple of things. The first is, this is so much a situation where, like on an airplane, you have to put your own oxygen mask on first. What do you need this morning to feel a little steadier? Some of you might have needed to step away from your kids and come on this chat and just see a friendly face and somebody who cares about you saying, yeah, I know. Just that. Yeah, I know. It's so hard. It's so overwhelming. But some of you might need something else. You might need 5 minutes alone in the bathroom. You might need to step outside on your balcony, or if you have a yard, step into the yard for a minute and just breathe for 1 minute and put your hand on your heart and notice that it's beating all by itself. I just find that such a powerful anchor to bring me back to the present moment and get me out of the future, out of all the possibilities that many of us are projecting into the days ahead. Another thing you can do either on your own to get yourself out of your head or to do with your children is just rub your hands together. Just rub your hands together. Everybody, you can do that now if you want. And you notice that when you're done, wow, your hands are tingling. They're kind of warm. And you're back in your body. And you're out of your head and in your presence. And this is what our kids are going to be amazing teachers for all of us. Somebody once said to me, wouldn't it be incredible if there was an app that let you know when you weren't being present, when you weren't present? Oh yeah, it's your children. So having written a book called Parenting with Presence, I can say with all certainty that our children will gently or not so gently remind us when we're spinning out in our heads. And it's very tempting to do that right now. How am I going to replenish our food stocks? What's going to happen if I lose my job? Or I've already lost my job, or my partner's lost their job. What are we going to do? It's so easy to get out of the moment. And I get it. And listen, plans have to be made. All of that is true. And in this moment, everything's okay. And that the second book I wrote, Eckhart Tolle wrote the introduction for it, and he actually helped me edit the book. And so it really has a lot of his beautiful teaching, as best I could sort of fit it in here and there. And one of the things he talks about is how there are no problems, there are situations. And so when you're moving into the future and anticipating a problem that isn't yet in front of you, that is taking you out of the moment, and it makes it harder for you to deal with what is in front of you. When we're in the present moment, we might have a situation like, oh, we're out of toilet paper, or oh, my child is not feeling well. What can I do to, get help? Or, oh, I'm going into labor. These are actual things that need our attention, especially the last one I mentioned. But a lot of what we lose ourselves over is not happening right now. And anything you can do, whether it's rubbing your hands together for 20 seconds and then noticing that they're getting warm and feeling the energy, the tingling afterward, to be back in our skin, putting our hand on our heart to anchor ourselves to this moment can be very helpful. Now, a couple of things I want to say about that, the fact that you're teaching your children, or maybe teaching your children, or sort of teaching your children at home. I am also a credentialed teacher in addition to being a family therapist, and I was a teacher for a long time. Some of you might not know that. And I also homeschooled my son until he was in the 6th grade. So I want to be a resource for those of you, either on these little Facebook Live get-togethers or on our Monday get-togethers. I'm actually doing a class next week with Lawrence Cohen on playful parenting that you can find out about. And of course, we do our membership calls twice a month. Actually, if you need more personal support, please check out our membership program, because we're going to meet every week for the next few weeks. And your first month can just be $1. So I think it's susanstiffelman.com/membership if you want to check that out as well. You get a lot more personal support than I can do on these, Facebook Live, Instagram live feeds. But a couple things about homeschooling that I'd like to suggest. There are a lot of things circulating that are incredibly helpful about how you could homeschool your children effectively. And some of them have schedules. How do I do that? They have schedules, 8 o'clock do this. And I think for many, either parents or children, if you are going to relax, if you have a schedule, I would by all means suggest that you try that. Even if you're not a very structured person, if you have a child who's sort of flailing and seems at, kind of lost, the structure will be helpful. And regardless of what kind of schedule you keep, I do recommend that you get your kids up in the morning. Maybe it can be, a little bit later, and that everybody gets dressed and you have some degree of routine, because routine is so, so comforting to kids. So, whatever the schooling part of your day is, I do suggest that you have a routine and that people get up at a certain time and you establish that. Have a family meeting, you guys. Sit down with your children and talk about what the next couple of weeks are going to look like, and lay out for them or with them what kind of structure would be in place for your family in terms of getting up and chores and meals. But definitely include your children in meal preparation and in cleaning up the house. Listen, this is one of the silver linings, in my opinion, is that kids can really start to chip in and be part of the functioning of the household. Now, some of you, either you yourself are not a highly structured person, or you don't have kids who respond well to a lot of structure. They do better with a less rigid schedule. So notice who you are and who your child is. Please don't put on yourself added stress and pressure by thinking you have to conform to a particular schedule that you've seen in your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed. Customize what's going to work for you. When I homeschooled my son, there were days where we sat down at a certain time, and I even had a little written out schedule of he would do kind of social studies at this time and math at this time. And there were other days when his homeschooling happened on a trip into town in the car, where we would do math problems and he would solve them in his head. So please be flexible. The amazing thing I've learned as an educator and teacher is that it's not the quantity, it's the quality of what you're doing. And there's so many great resources. I think I posted some, or will be posting some today, from my friend Betsy Brown-Braun, who, but you're seeing them all over. There's virtual museum tours and all that. Just don't throw a lot of stuff at your kids. Don't feel you have to do a lot, right? You could read one book about penguins and then do some, depending on your child's age, of course, do some reading up on penguins, or make a penguin skit based on what you've learned about their behavior, or, make a penguin out of your toast and decorate it, or, talk about studies that have gone on of penguins and the scientists who studied them. Some kids are going to do better with a theme than with trying to replicate the school day that where they attended. Now, that assumes, of course, that your kids aren't being taught by their teachers virtually. In some cases, that they're sort of going to school in their living room. But there are a lot of options that you can explore. And if you have questions about it, I can help a little bit. And there's so many great resources. I think I should wrap this up now. Again, deep breath. Let's just close with a moment of gratitude for whatever it is you could come up with right now that brings a little lightness to your heart. Whether it's the fact that you have an avocado still in your fridge, or that your children are somehow peacefully getting along for a few minutes, or just that the breath is coming in and out as a gift that you couldn't have imagined receiving. We are in this moment together, mostly okay, I hope, and virtually holding hands as we find our way through this new experience. I hope you'll stay in touch. If you'd like, you can tag a friend or share this video. If it's been inspirational or supportive to you, that's what my aim is, just to be of service in any and all ways that I can. My best to all of you. Talk to you soon, or hopefully see you soon. Bye-bye.